It's okay right now.
Okay, let's get started. So if everybody would take their seat. My name is Cliff Weiner. Thank you for coming out. Small crowd, but you're going to get a lot of good information. I'm president of the POA. First on our agenda is we're going to stand for the pledge of the flag and a moment of silence for our first responders and our military personnel.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Please be seated. I'm doing double duty tonight. Our video guru is not here, so I'm running the camera, or trying to. No guarantees. Okay, at the back we have our friends from Seniors Nursing Crime and Realty Execs. So they've been supporting us for a long time. So next is Patsy's gonna come up and make a special announcement. Patsy Over is one of our directors.
Good evening. Thank you, Cliff. Going to give a little update. How many of you were at the meeting last month, the November meeting? Okay, so about almost maybe a third of you. One of the things that was put out last month is that there are some changes coming to the POA, and one of those changes here constant. Cliff is retiring as president of the POA. And so in November, we will have elections for board members. And right now we have 2 people who have been nominated. And if you have someone you want to nominate, you have now, between now and November, to do that. The 2 people who are nominated are Rep. Benson as the president and Dan Warren as the vice president. Rep, would you stand up? Okay, so you can see that's Rep. He's currently the secretary of the POA and a very dedicated individual. And Dan, would you please stand up? Is currently the vice president. So pending no further nominations, know for sure that the POA will be in good hands. Cliff will continue to be involved and be on the board for a period of time. And we're looking to the future to see, how we can involve the POA. I want to talk about the 50th anniversary. How many of you are aware that the POA is celebrating its 50th anniversary next month? Okay, so that means we're getting some news out. October 21st is the celebration, and it'll be a combination of telling the POA story. So if you have neighbors who are new in your neighborhood, that's the time to tell them, come and see what the POA is about. I met a gentleman in the parking lot. Where are you? Where's the pizza guy? Okay. And he says, hey, is this where the POA meeting is? And I said, yeah. He said, can you tell me a little bit about it? So I want to thank you for coming out. And, we need to get the word out because the POA is the only independent watchdog advocate, for neighbors and residents within the villages. And it's quite a milestone to get to 50 years. It's going to take a lot more effort to do the next 50 years because there's a lot of change, there's a lot of things happening in the villages right now. I had prepared a whole set of comments for you, but I'm scrubbing those, and I'm just going to give you some information here. When you come, we're going to have the story spread out about the POA. We're going to talk about who is the POA, accomplishments. Like, how many of you realize that the POA was instrumental in getting the bridge at Spanish Springs? Okay? So there's a lot of things I'm suspecting that you're not aware of that the POA has done. And so we want to take that opportunity and showcase a lot of the things that the POA has accomplished on behalf of residents. And as you move around the room, then of course we're going to be looking to increase people signing up to get the new electronic newsletter, which if you have received it, it's absolutely fabulous. And we thank Deb, okay, for that. Deb, wave. She does the newsletter, and you won't be getting driveway newsletter anymore. And so as your snowbirds come back, please remind them, as your neighbors come back, to get signed up for the electronic version. You know, we're trying to step into the 21st century here, and so it'll be helpful if you can let them know that. And of course, then as you round through the room, we're going to finish out with what the future may look like for the POA. And that's where we're going to, look for a lot of comments from you. We'd like to get residents more involved in having discussions with the POA. A couple of the things, and then in the center, this is where the good stuff happens, okay? Not that the story about the POA isn't great, but all the giveaways are going to be in the center of the room where the advertisers are coming and they are bringing lots of goodies. And the other thing that's going to happen is there's going to be a big raffle. Do we know what that is? Is that the lightning system? There's going to be a lightning suppression system. Okay, for your whole house, and that's going to be the raffle. So you come, you fill out a card, and you go in the raffle automatically once you fill the card out. So a lot of good stuff's going to happen. There's going to be special cookies. Of course, we like cookies. And so it's a really good time to come out and meet with your neighbors and to talk to the POA members. The thing that I want to really stress here is going into the future, we need to pull from the neighborhoods who are not represented. And that's the farther south we go, those people are the less informed about the POA. And so, we really depend upon folks getting the word out. If you're at your driveway having a conversation and October is coming up, say, hey, are you familiar with the POA? Are you familiar, and can you come to the 50th anniversary? How do things cease to exist? They cease to exist when people fail to volunteer and participate. And so if you think there's chaos on occasion in the villages now, imagine what it will be like if there is no POA. And so it's very important for people to put forth the effort to maintain this organization. We've got some initiatives that I'll be working on, and I'm trying to create some think tanks. We asked last month for people to volunteer for that. And so we're looking for people who have ideas and who want to be part of a group. The very first thing that we're going to do is an outreach group. We want to go out because this village is full of skills. We have all kinds of skills across this villages. We need to get them involved in the POA so that when an issue comes up and it involves something, we can look down through our skill set and go, oh, this is an engineering issue. Not that we're going to hire an engineer, that we want the person to be an engineer, but guess what? They were a civil engineer, or they did this, or they were an attorney, or they were an accountant. Okay, they are land management, property management. When we can identify these skills, we can pull that collective knowledge together and imagine the strength that we would have now to be able to represent all of the villages. So that's kind of where I'm coming from. That's what I bring to the table. And if they're honest, they'll tell you I'm somewhat irritating. Okay, they'll be nice to not, and they won't say it, but it's true. Because I'm the person that sits in the room and asks the question, and everybody's going, wow, why is she asking that question again and again and again? And so we have to have people who are willing to ask questions and who are willing to kind of rock the boat a little bit. So if you want to rock the boat, come with me and get on my boat and let's make some waves, okay? Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, Nancy. And everything she said is true, about sometimes even her being irritated. But we love her anyways. Let me tell you that our next meeting here will be on January 8th, and we're going to try something different. We're going to have bingo. So POA members are going to get something special. They're going to get more cards. We haven't worked out the details. We fit 237 people in this room, and it needs to be full because we're not making any money on this. Everything we take in is going to be given back out in prize money. So tell all your friends, January 8th in this room for bingo. March 21st will be the POA's 7th annual shredding event. It's at New Covenant Methodist Church behind the Publix on 466. You need to be a member to participate, and you need a ticket. Tickets will be issued starting in November. If we issue them too early, people lose them, and then I have to send them more tickets, and it's just easier. So there'll be more information in the November magazine that comes out on November 1st. And what the email address to send to, and all of that. But remember, March 21st, we usually get close to 1,000 cars, and usually take about 44,000 pounds of paper to get shredded. We've been doing this now. This will be our 7th year. It's not cheap to do, but it's well worthwhile because there's the people in the back from Seniors versus Crime. We'll tell you when you get rid of your information so the bad guys can't get a hold of it. So that's really kind of important. I'm not going to talk about the violent life. Is anybody in here from Marion County? I doubt it. I'm probably not you here. I'm probably the only one. So I won't talk about that. I'm sure the sheriff or Captain Seymour will talk about the violent life. So next on the agenda is the open forum. If you have a question on anything except something the sheriff might talk about, raise your hand. Somebody will come with the mic. We need a mic because we live stream and video record our meetings. You can go onto our website and see every meeting that we've ever done since we started doing this in June of 2021. They're all there. So, anybody have a question? Okay, I get off easy tonight. Just let me tell you, well, we have a couple of speakers coming up before I turn it over to my friends from the Sheriff's Department. October 21st is our 50th anniversary of Laurel Manor. In November, at Laurel Manor, our speaker will be Dr. John Young, who we've had before. He does a really good job. It presents an entertaining talk about something, probably about how stem cells can help cure lots of things. He's done one before on this, which has been video recorded, so you can go and look at it. And then in December, I decided, just on my way out, I was going to try something different again. And Gary Cato, who's one of our, directors, right there, one of our directors, and is the founder of SOS, Support Our Soldiers, is going to do a talk about Support Our Soldiers because no veteran should have to live in the Ocala National Forest. That's just absolutely disgusting. And just for the heck of it, we're going to have the kids from the Villages Elementary School on Rolling Acres entertain us with some Christmas music. They're going to sing some songs for us for about 20 or 25 minutes. So it's something different. We've never done that before, and we're going to try something. It should be good. I've heard these kids before, and they're really, really good. Unfortunately, tonight we don't have any donuts because our donut ladies messed up and forgot to order. So there are no donuts. I guess it's my fault. I should have contacted them to make sure. I thought I sent them an email, but I don't know. Maybe I did, maybe I didn't. Well, I'll take the blame. I have big shoulders. So with that being said, it's now time for Captain Seymour. Are you doing it, or is your partner going to help you?
He's gonna.
Okay. Okay, guys. And I gotta tell you that over the last 10 years, these guys have really become good friends. I see them all the time, and it's a pleasure for them to be here. I hope you guys enjoy it.
Thank you, Cliff. I really appreciate that. Like I said, I'm Captain Seymour with the Sumter Cty Sheriff's Office. I'm one of your district supervisors here in the villages. We do have another district supervisor back here, Sumter Cty. He'll be joining us a little bit later. Sure, Pat Reed really wanted to be out here today, but unfortunately he's getting an award for something at another event, so he couldn't make it tonight. So he said, thanks for the invitation. He hopes to come out next time, and the next time we get invited out here. So hopefully we'll be here. I want to thank you guys for letting me come out here and talk to you guys tonight. I got to tell you, we have a lot of stuff that we offer here at the Sheriff's Office, and we always try to get the word out. Everybody knows what traditional law enforcement is. If you call 911, you'll get a law enforcement officer where you're at. Or if you're going a little too fast, you might have the red blue lights in your rearview mirror and you can pull over. But we also do non-traditional stuff as well, and that's what I would like to share with you guys tonight. They Sergeant Dodge going to hand out bags, so everybody will have a bag here in a little bit. And inside your bag, you can have a vial that looks like this. I need a sample from each one of you before you leave. Just take one. I'm just kidding. I did that to a news group one time. Some of them got up and started walking out. I'm like, oh, kidding, come on. This little vial actually goes along with the paperwork that's inside the bag. On the second page of this paperwork, there's enough room for 2 people in a household. What we ask you to do is put anything and everything that you would like us to know about you, or medical stuff. If you have a heart attack or a stroke at your house and we responded as first responders, what kind of information would be important for us to know? Maybe what kind of medications you're on, who's your doctors. If you have some special needs person that lives with you, you might want to say my husband or wife has Alzheimer's or dementia. If I'm the caretaker, if I get taken away to the hospital for one reason or another, this is what my wishes are. I would like you to call my neighbor, call my son, my daughter, whatever that case may be. Anything and everything that you would like us to know about you if something medically happened to you and we responded. Then we ask you to take that form and tear it off. We ask you to roll it up and place it inside of this vial. Now inside the vial there's a sticker. We ask you to take the sticker and put it somewhere on the front of your house. Maybe on your door or a window or something like that. And there's also a magnet in here as well. We ask you to put the magnet on your refrigerator. And then after you put the paperwork in here, we ask you to place this inside your refrigerator. And please put it in your refrigerator door. If you put it on the shelf, all the food and everything else will end up pushing it all the way to the back. It'll take longer to get to it. If you put it in the door, it'll be very easy for us to get it. This is a great program. We're finding these vials in ladies' purses. We're finding them in golf carts. We're finding them in glove boxes of cars. And if you guys crash or if you're not away from your house and our first responders see this, because all of them know to look for this. If they see this, they know you participate in this, and they'll certainly get the information that they need to treat you better. So it's a great program. Please sign up for it and place it in your refrigerator. The next thing I'd like to talk to you guys about is our Peace of Mind program. Our Peace of Mind program is not in your bag because this does not pertain to everybody. The Peace of Mind program was designed for if you lived alone and you can live by yourself, no problem. But if something ever happened, you fell on the ground or whatever, you have a hard time getting yourself back up on your feet. That's the type of people that this program is made for. And all you got to do is call us once a day and let us know that you're okay. I'll tell you, we save at least 3 lives in this program every single year. They're supposed to call us in the morning, they fail to do that. We end up trying to call you, they don't answer. We have to go into the house, we call the key holder. If we ask you to have a key holder so we can get in your house so we're not kicking your front door in. And we'll come check on you and find you to make sure you're okay. The last one that I was actually personally involved with, actually I can tell you 2 stories. The last one that I had involvement was, the lady got up in the middle of the night, she slipped and fell and hit her head pretty severely on the ground. And she wandered around her house for about 5 hours and not sure what to do. She was bleeding everywhere. The We get there, we got her to the hospital, and she was okay, but she just was disoriented, she didn't know what she was doing, and it took us going to her house when she failed to call us and getting her to the hospital, so that was fantastic. Another story I have for you is we had a lady, she got up in the middle of the night, used the restroom, and when she turned to walk back to the bedroom, she slipped and fell into the tub and couldn't get herself out. And she failed to call us, so we tried to call her, no answer. We called the key holder said, yeah, she's my next door neighbor, she should be home. I said, well, we're gonna send deputies over there, we're gonna check on her, make sure she's okay, and we found her. She was okay, but she did tell me something that was very interesting. She said, yeah, I have a daughter, and I talk to my daughter once a week, and I just spoke to her yesterday, and there was a potential, I could have laid in that tub for a whole week without anybody thinking anything bad, anything about it, so I'm glad that she's okay. If you know anybody in your neighborhood that lives alone and can benefit from this program, please come see me. We got these in the back, and all you gotta do is call us once a day and tell us you're okay. By the way, all these programs that we offer, it is no cost to you guys. None of it's charging you for any of this, so please take advantage of it. Another thing that the sheriff's office did, he actually took a handful of our deputies and sent them to school to learn how to make their home safe. So we offer a home security inspection. Takes about 45 minutes. We do it Monday through Friday. We start at 8 o'clock in the morning. We go until about 4. And they'll come to your house and they'll check things like your window locks and your door locks. They'll talk about shrubbery and lighting, things of that nature. Some of the things that we have found is deadbolts in your front door. We're finding that some houses, the hole that the deadbolt actually goes into is not drilled deep enough. And you can stick a pocket knife in there or a screwdriver and work that bolt back into the door. If you want to know what I'm talking about, when you go home tonight, open your front door, push the deadbolt out about halfway, you can just take the finger and push it right back in. It has to go all the way to the end where it actually locks, and you can't work that deadbolt back into that door. We're finding those. Another thing that is really interesting that they're telling people is to put a peephole. Does anybody know what a peephole is? We used to have a solid door back in the day. Installing one of those from your laundry room into your garage. God forbid somebody break into your house and end up in your garage, and you hear something. Instead of opening that door and exposing yourself to a potential threat, you can just lock that door and look through the peephole. Some people are putting up inexpensive solar lights or motion detecting lights type of thing. And so lights will come in the garage, you can look out and happen to see somebody out there. That is a fireproof hardened door, so it is a good solid door. So you don't have to worry about somebody kicking it in. It'd be very difficult to do that. And I'm going to tell you guys a funny story that I had an involvement with this. We had a lady that she lived alone, and she carried a revolver on her nightstand. She wakes up in the middle of the night and she hears what she thinks is somebody in the garage. She gets up, she grabs that revolver, she goes into her laundry room and fires all 6 rounds through that door. She killed her car. She knocked the windows out of there. There was nobody in the garage though. Nobody got hurt. That was another good thing. But the good thing is she's got 6 people now. She just got to find one that she can see through. Exactly. So we don't recommend putting peepholes in that way. Have professional installed. But if you're interested in free home security inspection, there is a pamphlet inside your bag, and on the back of it, there's a telephone number to the village annex. Just give us a call. Say, hey, I'm interested in a free home security inspection, and we'll make the time and day that's suitable for you guys, and we'll get out there and take care of that. Now we did tell you another program that we have. We have something called a human scent preservation kit. And before I tell you what it's all about, I'm going to kind of explain how we ended up with it. Sumter Cty Sheriff's office, a husband and wife. The husband had Alzheimer's. He had wandered off. And they had 25 deputies and helicopters and everything else out there for 2 hours looking for this guy, and they just couldn't find him. About 2 hours into it, the lady said, you know, I got this scent kit that I bought a few years ago. Do you think this might help? So they took it, they presented it to the dog, they actually found him. 5 minutes later, he was actually 2 doors down, hiding in the bushes. We've all had dealings with people that have Alzheimer's and dementia. When they get into that state where they're confused and you just can't walk down the road and go, hey Joe, hey Susie, come on back home, we're gonna get you back to your house and they just won't come to you. They get scared and they hide. And I can only imagine what that poor guy was going through, because there was radios going off, helicopters flying around, like flashing lights everywhere. I'm sure they got dogs barking. I'm sure they got actually absolutely terrified, and he wasn't coming out. So you had to go physically get him and bring him back home. So we share information a lot with other counties, and we read this in one of the articles that they sent us, and we looked at it and we said, hey, this is great. We need to get this here at our agency, because the Alzheimer's Association actually says that we have about a 10% population with people with Alzheimer's. That's a pretty good amount of people. Where we have over 100,000 people right now. Just here in Sumter County, 170. Oh, so 170,000 total in the villages. It's quite a few people. So before I tell you what's inside the box, you guys are all waiting for that. I'm going to tell you about the two different types of canines we have at our agency. The first type is we have a shepherd. A shepherd dog is great for what they do. They're riding around. We have one on every shift, so they're always riding around 24/7 in our communities. And they're great for if the bad guy ever runs from you, you get that dog there very quickly, get him out, they'll run, chase the bad guy down, and bite him, and we could put him in jail. The problem with that is they're only good for smelling the freshest scent. And what we have found is when people, it takes normally the loved ones to call us, it takes them about 45 minutes before they actually call us once they notice their loved one had come up missing. Because what they do is they go, where's my husband or where's my wife? Oh, they're probably in the house. They search the house. They say, oh, they probably went to the mailbox, and they'll go down there and look. Or maybe went to his buddy Joe's house and they go check with him. And about 45 minutes later, they're coming into a panic going, oh my God, my loved one's gone. I don't know where they went. Those dogs would not be good for them. But we also have bloodhounds. Bloodhounds are scent discriminated. You can actually give them one scent and they will know exactly who they're looking for. And it doesn't matter how old that scent is. Well, it does, but short term, a day or two, they certainly can find it very easily. So we use those dogs for that. So inside the box, there's actually a sterile jar, and it's double insulated glass with a special lid on it. And it's sterile inside. It also comes with a sterile pad. What we ask you to do is have your loved one take this pad and rub it all over her body, get as much scent on this pad they possibly can, and then you place it inside this vial. And then there's a sticker that goes on the front of it. You put their name, the date it was collected, and the reason why that is important is they guarantee this for 7 years. So 7 years, if you need a new one, we'll get it to you. And we do understand that some people with Alzheimer's or dementia could not accomplish this by themselves. So it also comes with a pair of latex gloves in here. If you have to assist in doing it, please wear the latex glove, but also put your name here where it says person that collects the scent. And just put the sticker in front of the jar. We ask you to leave it in your pantry somewhere out of the daylight. You can even put it in your refrigerator if you wanted to. But and if your loved one comes up missing, call us so we can get that canine up there as quickly as possible. We actually took it one step further. A couple of years ago, we actually wrote a grant. We applied for a grant to get some money to buy GPS watches. And we were awarded that grant. We bought a bunch of watches. And it looks just like this one. Sergeant Dodge says it is not a tracking watch, but I don't really believe him very well. But he always knows where I'm at. Just kidding. It is a locking watch that could take it off. It does require a key. And that is great because it puts the power back into the caretakers for locating your loved ones. You would download an app on your smartphone, and if your loved one wandered off, you pull your phone out, open the app, hit the locate button, you'll know exactly where your loved one is at. Our calls for service to go look for people with Alzheimer's has dropped by 50% by coming up with these things that we have with the watches. That saves us a ton of money. Just had a helicopter flying around it. What is it, about $600 an hour, something crazy like that? If we cut our time in half as far as getting people back, or the calls for service, and they're finding their loved ones very quickly. We've had one instance, actually Sergeant Dodge was actually involved in, where husband and wife, husband had Alzheimer's, the wife woke up in the morning and noticed that her husband wasn't by her side. She searched the house, couldn't find him. She pulls out the phone, she hits the locate button, she goes out her back door and down a golf cart path, and when she got to where it said he was at, she didn't see him. So she called us, the sheriff's office, and Sergeant Dodge was one of the people that showed up. And when he got there, what had happened, the guy got to the end of the path and he actually tripped and fell and rolled into some bushes, and she couldn't see him, but he was there, so we know it worked. We were getting a little concerned at first when it wasn't there where he was supposed to be, but he was there. So, again, if you know somebody with Alzheimer's, we take it very seriously at our agency because 10% of our population has it, and it's very important that we get these people back to their loved ones as quickly as possible because they are in grave danger being out there by themselves. Okay, we took all of these programs that we offer and we put them under an umbrella called the SAFE program. So inside your bag, it's a card that looks like this. On the back, there's a QR code. We ask you to take a picture of that QR code and an application will actually pop up. And any of these programs that we offer, you can manually fill it out on this application and submit it to us. What benefit will that be? The benefit of that is if you call 911, when your screen pops up in the deputy's car that's in there, they'll be able to see that and go, hey, when I get there, I know this person is part of the Mile of Life program, or maybe they might be the Peace of Mind program, or it might pop up and say, hey, when I get there, the husband or wife is going to have Alzheimer's or dementia. It just gives the deputy a lot more information before they get there about what they're walking into, and it kind of better helps serve you guys as well. So that's what I wanted to talk about. How many people knew that we had a phone app? You did?
I did.
You did, okay. You guys have, please download our app. We have a great app for the sheriff's office. You learn about the sheriff's office. It'll actually give you notifications if we have road closures or if we're looking for somebody. Let's see, there's a button on here where you can push it and you can actually pull up a map of our county and talk about the crimes that are going on in our county. If you'll notice that Bushel has a big red spot over the center of it. It's not, that's where our jail is. It's not crime ridden. You can see where the sex offenders are at within the county as well on this app. Inmate searches. I don't know why anybody went in to search inmates, but you can search inmates. I said that to a lady group one time. A lady like goes, "Oh, great, a dating app." I said, "No, don't use a dating app. Bad idea." So please download our app. Matter of fact, we got an alert earlier today, Lake Pansaki, there was a bad crash down there, and there were some road closures, so they were telling you avoid this area because you're going to get stuck in traffic if you go down there. And just a great app to have. So another thing that we have with is the Sumter County, not Sumter County Sheriff's Office, but Sumter County offers something this as well. And who lived here back in 2007? Anybody? Okay, back in 2007, we had a tornado come through the villages, and we used to always rely on weather boxes. So it's a little box where you can sit on your nightstand, and 3 o'clock in the morning it'll go off on a hot summer night, and it'll tell you there's some bad storm in Marion County, 20 miles away, and it scares you to death. And eventually, about the third time it does that, you'll unplug it, throw it in the drawer somewhere, and forget about it. We knew there had to be something better out there. So our county actually got Marion County, Sumter County, and Lake County all got together and got with this company. And if you live in Sumter County, it'll be Alert Sumter. If you live in Marion County, Alert Marion, and again, Lake County. Does anybody live in Lake County? I know we guys about Marion County. So everybody here in Sumter County? Very good. So you'll worry about Alert Sumter. There's 2 ways to sign up for this. You can do it by telephone, or you can go to the website that's printed on the model, and you give them your address, and you can put up to 2 phones on it. So you can do 2 cell phones, or a house phone and a cell phone, whatever combination you want to do. And it will only alert you if the bad weather is going to directly affect you. So it's actually kind of pretty neat. Pretty neat. All right, this is where Sergeant Dodge gets to come up here. I'll tell you this, guys, we do live in a very safe county. Our violent crime rate is very low. There are some problems, and Sergeant Dodge is going to talk about our problems, but I would like for you to turn it over to him, and he's going to tell you about a few things. Thank you.
Thank you, Captain. Like I said, good evening. My name's Sergeant Adam Dodge with the Sumter Cty Sheriff's Office. I know that I have to stand here because it's live streamed, and if I know that if I go over there, get told, oh, back to the podium you go, so I'll stand here. But Captain Seymour's right. We live in an extraordinarily safe community, but there are some things that we can do to keep from becoming victims. And there's two types of crime which impact us here in the villages more than any other sorts of crime. Any ideas what those may be? Scams is one of them, right? Any ideas what the other might be? Ooh, yeah, I see a hand.
Crimes of opportunity.
Ooh, crimes of opportunities, absolutely right. You knew that, how do you know that?
I heard you speak before.
Captain didn't share, but usually he likes to boast. He asks people, you know, where do you think we fall when we talk about criminal statistics? Where do you think we fall? There's 67 counties in the state of Florida. Each has an elected sheriff, and we all compare to each other when it comes to crime statistics. Any idea where Sumter County falls compared to the other 66 counties in the state for crime statistics? Any guesses? 6. I hear 6. We're usually 6, 7, 8, somewhere in there for crime statistics. The counties that beat us, we say they've got less than 40,000 people, gas station, a Dollar General, and a flashing light, and that's it, right? So for our size, we're doing really excellent when it comes to crime statistics. And a big portion of that is the community that we serve. We have a lot of people here who are good people, law-abiding citizens. However, there are some people, unfortunately, everywhere in the world, who will take advantage of a situation, right? We preach something we call the 9 p.m. routine. We ask people at 9 p.m. or before you go to bed, make sure your garage door is down. If you park your car outside, make sure that car door is locked. We'll have young people come through the neighborhood sometimes, and they'll pull on car door handles. They're just looking for an unlocked car, and if they find an unlocked car, they'll rummage through. They're looking for spare change, sunglasses. If they find a firearm, they'll take the firearm. If they find keys to the car, they'll leave with the car. If your vehicle is locked, they'll just move on down the street looking for another vehicle. So there's small, smart decisions we can make to keep from becoming a victim of a crime like that. You likely wouldn't go to a restaurant and leave your pocketbook on the table. We ask you to use that same thought process when we talk about your golf clubs. Please don't leave your $2,000 worth of golf clubs on the back of your cart and park at the square for a few hours, and then be surprised when you come back and your driver has grown legs and walked away, right? You wouldn't do that with your pocketbook. We ask you not to do it with your golf clubs all the same. So we ask you not to leave valuables out there in plain view because unfortunately they will grow legs and walk away. Now, scams. The captain mentioned our mobile app, and our mobile app has something called the Sumter Scam Sting. And that's a way to tell the sheriff's office if you encounter something suspicious. Now this week, last 2 weeks, we've had about 100 people walk into our office. We work up at the Villages Annex at 466 and Morris. They've come in with a letter. They got in the mail from an attorney in Canada. Wouldn't you know it, they've got a long-lost relative in Canada who had $10 million, and they're the sole recipient. And we had to break the bad news to a lot of people, unfortunately. We kept some in the office to show them different examples with different folks' names on them. We see that all the time. We see people trying to take advantage of your trust. So much of our demographic here in this area grew up in a time where they shook hands, they looked people in the eye, what they said they were going to do is what they meant, and they trusted one another. And unfortunately today, there's so much out there that you just can't trust. If someone calls you out of the blue, you need to assume that they're lying to you, unfortunately. It's terrible, but you need to assume that they're lying to you. If someone calls your phone and says, this is your bank, this is the fraud department from your bank, and there's been fraudulent activity. I got a phone call from Chase Bank recently. It said there's been fraudulent activity on your account. And I said, you're right, because I don't bank with Chase, right? If someone calls you and they tell you that they're the fraud department, we'd ask you to hang up the phone. Don't communicate with that person. They're likely going to try to get information from you that they can use against you. Hang up the phone, pull out your wallet, and find your credit or debit card. The phone number to your bank is on that card. And you know when you call that number, you're going to reach your financial institution. We see victims come into our office and they say, hey, I was called and someone said that an employee at the bank was going to steal money and they're going to connect me. They put me through to the Federal Trade Commission. And what they're doing is they're handing the phone to the next guy at the table. I'm going to put you through to the Federal Trade Commission. Hello, this is the Federal Trade Commission. They go on down the line of all the different agencies that they talk to. And we've had victims convinced that they need to go and pull their money out and to deposit funds into a Bitcoin ATM. which is terrible because oftentimes those funds, as soon as they're set there, they're not traceable, they're difficult to retrieve. We've had difficult time investigating those and retrieving funds. We've seen victims who have been told, you need to go get all of your money out of the bank, and when they ask why, don't tell them why. Tell them, to make up some lie, tell them whatever the case may be. Don't tell them that I'm telling you because the bank, someone at the bank is in on it. You can't let them know. You need to go and get gold bullion, and we'll send a courier. The courier is going to pick up your gold, and they're going to take it to Fort Knox, and they're going to make sure it's secure. Well, when the Uber driver shows up, they load the gold bullion in the back of the car, and that gold bullion is gone. We've seen victims who've been talked out of hundreds of thousands of dollars. We've seen victims who've been convinced that they need to sell their home to have funds to cover the taxes for lottery winnings. Can I share something with you? If you didn't enter the Nigerian lottery, you didn't win the Nigerian lottery, right? Seems simple, right? If Publishers Clearinghouse reaches out to you and says, congratulations, you've won, my first question is, when did you enter the sweepstakes? You probably didn't, right? But if Publishers Clearinghouse says, we're coming tomorrow with $1 million check, the balloon's in the camera, but you need to send us $10,000 today. We've seen that. We've seen people say, you know what, my ship has come in. I'm not even going to tell my wife. It's going to be a great surprise for her tomorrow. And they will get funds and send money to these individuals. Oftentimes, if you send money in that situation, they call back tomorrow. Say, hey, great news, there's been a clerical error. You didn't win $1 million. You won $10 million. We had the decimal in the wrong place. Wouldn't you believe it? So it turns out you don't owe $10,000 in taxes. You owe $100,000 in taxes. And in those circumstances, we've seen people become convinced they need to sell their home to send this money because they're convinced that they're going to win this large sum of cash. And it's terrible and it's unfortunate. Now, and our friends back in the back with Seniors versus Crime are a great resource for us when people come in and they think that they've been taken advantage of. Some scams are criminal. Some scams are not. Some scams are, sometimes people deal with businesses that show up. Can I tell you that if someone shows up at your home and says, I think your roof needs to be inspected. I'd like to inspect your roof. May I borrow your ladder? Please don't let that person on your roof, right? That makes sense. Before you deal with a business here in this area, we recommend you reach out to Seniors versus Crime and speak to them. Say, hey, I'm going to hire this company to do some work at my home. They'll let you know if that company is a reputable company, if they've been in business for a while, what sort of complaints they have against them. And they're always going to encourage you to deal with a reputable business who wants repeat business, who they know they're going to hold up their end. If you ever deal with a contractor and you feel like they've not held up their end of the bargain, I'd encourage you to, again, reach out to Seniors versus Crime. Seniors versus Crime they're a volunteer organization. It's an offshoot of the Attorney General's office, and they're a team member for you in your corner when you're dealing with a business who they can help make it right. They can convince this business that they need to fix the situation, and they're a great asset for us. They work out of an office with us up at the Villages Annex at 466 and more. So if you come in to see us, we may say, hey, this isn't a criminal issue, but we recommend you speak with Seniors versus Crime. Or sometimes people ask for them. It turns out they actually need to talk to us, the Sheriff's Office. With the mobile app, we talked about Sumter Scam Sting. I know we mentioned the letter that went out this week. Has anyone ever heard of 3-Card Monty? Yeah, you've heard of 3-Card Monty or Shell game? Okay. So if you're walking down the street and they say, hey, you look like a lucky guy, you're going to win some money today. All you got to do is put the $20 on the table. Are you participating? No, absolutely not. Why not?
It's a scam.
Because it's a scam. Because you already know about it. You've seen it before. You know it's a scam. You're not going to participate in that because you know you're going to be taken advantage of. One of the great resources in our mobile app is to share information about scams, and that's the best way we can combat scams. Because if you've heard about a scam and you say, "Hey, I saw we pushed information out through the scam to let you know that this is going on." Now everyone's heard about the grandparent scam, right? Is everyone familiar with the grandparent scam? How about, is anyone familiar with a romance scam? Is anyone familiar with what a romance scam is? Unfortunately, we have people in our community who are widows or widowers who are contacted by someone through social media, and they're always a very attractive person. There's someone who loves this person, and their life's going to change. And we have people come see us sometimes. I had a 90-year-old gentleman recently who had met a 28-year-old Scandinavian model who recently inherited $12 million in gold, but needed $10,000 to cover the import taxes. Now, wouldn't you believe that? And I had to convince this gentleman that, unfortunately, I don't think this is a real person. This isn't the person that they're presenting themselves as. But we have people come in and say, hey, I got a picture of their driver's license. They're a real person. And every time we see these driver's licenses, they're always very good-looking pictures. Has anyone liked their driver's license photo before? Me neither, no. So when they come in and say, here's this driver's license picture, he's a real guy. That's a very handsome gentleman, and I bet you he's not a real person. And unfortunately, we have to break that news. But if you've heard about these sorts of scams, when you encounter them, you know it's a scam. If you become victim of a scam, or if you encounter a scam, let us know. We'd love to share that information with everyone within the community. If you don't tell anyone about a scam, and your neighbor falls victim to it, you could have warned them or let them know this is going on. One that we've seen fairly recently is people receiving phone calls saying, you missed jury duty. And they say, hey, you missed jury duty and there's a warrant for your arrest. We won't call you until you have a warrant for your arrest, right? When will we tell you you have a warrant for your arrest? Over there at the door, right? It's not a playground game. We're not going to give you a 30-second head start. No, we're going to show up and make you arrest them, right? So people have gotten phone calls and they say, hey, there's a warrant for your arrest. But if you go buy $3,000 worth of Home Depot gift cards, we can clear this up right now. And you won't get arrested, and your picture won't be in the newspaper, and you won't be on the online newspaper, and everyone will still want to be your friend because you're not this horrible person who missed jury duty. No, we're not going to call you and tell you you missed jury duty and there's a warrant for your arrest. These scams, because scammers are always evolving, they're always looking for what works. And if something doesn't work anymore, they change tactics. They've kind of gotten good at it, right? It's a shame, but they continue to get better and better. We've seen the scam involving missed jury duty and a warrant for your arrest. They've gone as far as to provide the name of an active sheriff's office employee. So they would call and say, this is Sergeant Larry Thompson. We have a Sergeant Larry Thompson. He's not calling people to tell them they have a warrant. But if that person were to Google Sergeant Larry Thompson of the Sumter Cty Sheriff's Office, they may find his photo and they think, hey, that's a real guy, that's him. Or the scammer will say, you need to go purchase the gift cards and then meet us at the sheriff's office. We'll meet you in the lobby of the sheriff's office. And you think, why would a scammer go to the lobby of the sheriff's office? And it must be legitimate. Well, after you've purchased the gift cards, they'll ask for a photo, proof that you've purchased the gift cards. All they need are the numbers off the back of the gift card. And as soon as they have that, that money is gone. The scammer's never going to meet you in person. The scammer's likely not in Sumter County, likely not in the state of Florida, or likely not in any state in the United States. So often we see scams that originate outside of the United States. And it's terrible, but sharing information could keep your friends and your neighbors from falling victim to those same sorts of offenses. Okay? Seco, absolutely. If someone calls and they claim to be from a business, we've had people receive phone calls saying, this is your internet service provider, and we can cut your bill in half, but you need to pay it today. And it needs to be through Bitcoin or a Zelle transfer or some sort of gift cards. And it's unfortunate, right? If you get a phone call that says, did you authorize this $1,200 purchase on Amazon? It's a scam. It is. In the same way, Microsoft or Apple doesn't know how quickly your computer is running. So if you have a pop-up that says your computer's running slow and we'd love to help, just log in and let us view your computer screen and we can help you. Please do not do that. Do not allow someone to have that access. If ever you think someone has access to your computer, we'd encourage you to unplug your computer and take it to a reputable computer repair company. They can ensure that no one has access to your computer. We've seen situations where someone gains access, they're granted access, so they're able to see what's going on a computer, and they lie in wait and just watch. They watch what occurs on the computer. Because as you log into your banking information, you're providing those account numbers, those passwords, they're gathering information before they make someone a victim. It's terrible, but we have to be aware that that's a possibility. If you receive a phone call, I encourage you, please assume they're telling you a lie about who they are. Hang up the phone, make sure you call the right number. Now, if you were to Google your bank, the first thing that pops up is a sponsored ad. Usually it would be sponsored by the bank itself. However, me as a private individual, if I wanted to sponsor an ad on Google, I could do that. And my entry could pop up at the very top. So if I wanted to say that I'm Bank of America and my phone number is a 352 area code that goes right to my cell phone, I could do that through Google. I could pay that money to be the first number that pops up. And if you were to Google Bank of America and I paid to have that sponsored ad, you'd see my phone number and you would call me. And I'd say, absolutely, what'd you say your name was? We'd love to help. I just need your account number, your password, and the last four of your social security number. And that's scary, right? So make sure the number that you're calling is the correct number for your financial institution or any other organization that you're reaching out to. Okay. Captain, if I missed anything?
Very good.
Fantastic. Do we have any questions? Can we open it up for questions? Yeah. Good. A question in the back. All the way in there. The questions for you, Captain.
I just have a question. You mentioned about the golf club. So we golf all the time. We shop in the square. So my question is this. So we've got the air tags and we hid them in our golf bags. Now, would you suggest to do that, or would you suggest to actually get the locks and lock them up? What's your preference?
So AirTag is a great device. I keep one on my wallet. I think an AirTag is something that would help identify where it went, but to prevent that theft from ever occurring is preferable to finding where it went off to afterwards. If that makes sense. A lock. I think a lock would be a great choice. Absolutely.
I have a property question that might relate to the sheriff's office. I have a courtyard villa, which means I share a wall onto my neighbor's property. And the only way I can access it is through the gate, which he keeps locked and refuses to open when I need access. What do I do?
Right. So with courtyard villas, your property lines they're subservient property lines. You forfeit a portion of your property for the access of another. Unfortunately, it's a civil issue when it comes to him not holding up his end of that deal. It's not necessarily a criminal issue. I would encourage you to speak with community standards.
I have, and they do not get involved.
Yes.
And the police won't get involved.
It's frustrating. I don't know if you've already spoken with an attorney about the issue, but the sheriff's office wouldn't come over and cut the lock on your behalf and make entry. It's an agreement that they sign when they sign the deed for the home. It's really a tough situation, and it's something that people have struggled with here within this community.
So I'd have to find a lawyer.
Unfortunately, I think that would
Maybe
be.
there's someone in the POA with that skill set.
Unfortunately, yes. Anybody else?
Go to a meeting, make a public.
Go once, twice. No question.
Yeah, what I was gonna say is what you need to do on something like that, because it is deed restrictions, and your government for your district is the legal government. So if you go to a district meeting, which they have every month, you have a right to get up to the microphone and talk, explain that to all 5 of your supervisors. They then have responsibility to follow up on that on your behalf. And if they go to district governor, to the director of that area, and they say they want this looked into, believe me, it'll be looked into. Okay? So district really should be representing you on that.
Can I piggyback on that?
Sure.
The other thing I would recommend is when you show up, I would have it in writing. I would write out the complaint. I would put all of the names and the dates and everything on there. And when you show up, I would make sure I give a copy to the chair and all of the participants, each supervisor, because if you don't hand it to each of them, they must rely upon the district manager to give them a copy.
District 9, is that?
Yeah.
District 9's next meeting is Wednesday, October 8th, 11:30 a.m. Seabreeze Recreation Center. Wednesday, October 8th at 11:30. You said 11 o'clock? 11:30. And you'll see Captain Seymour there. No, you'll see him.
And everything you say is recorded, and there's a record made of it in a minute, so it has to be followed up on. Most people don't realize how much authority you have within your district. Your supervisors are elected in the November election. They represent you like any other government elected official. So when you go to the meeting, you have a right to speak on anything you want to speak on that pertains to your property. And there's always time at every meeting to be able to do that. Does not necessarily have to be on the agenda. And then it's up to them to follow up, and they have to give a report back. So you're making them accountable by doing that. And that's exactly what we're there for. I'm chairman of District 5, so I've seen it for 20 years. Any other questions?
Gary?
Yes, sir. Yeah, Dan.
There seems to be a proliferation on the TV these days about somebody stealing your title. And they say you need to purchase this protection so somebody can't go in, steal the title to your property, sell your property, and you're out. Have there been any instances in Sumter County where that has occurred? In other words, I'm trying to understand, is that just a scare tactic to make you pay a subscription?
To date, Sumter County Sheriff's Office is not aware of any property deed theft. However, and I think that someone selling a product would encourage you to believe that there's a dire risk, and if you don't have this, terrible things could happen. The clerk of court, has a program now, Ms. Erin Munn's, property fraud alert. And the property fraud alert, I see that. Would Mr. Kelly like to come tell us about the forum, Seniors versus Crime? Okay. Right. Mr. Ed Kelly may like to chime in on the topic, but the clerk of court has a property fraud alert. I have a handful of pamphlets for that program with me tonight, and you can register with them with the pamphlet. There's a QR code, and you can log in. It's going to notify you if anything with your name is clerked in or involving your property. It still has to be clerked in, but it allows you the opportunity to be notified that something was clerked in with your name. So if something is fraudulent or if something is done maliciously, you'll be notified that day that it has been entered into the system, and you'll have the opportunity to refute that if something is clerked in with the intent of stealing a piece of property. Mr. Gallo?
It's also in Marion, Lake County. They all have.
We have some forms back here to register for Sumter County for deed fraud. It's a freebie. If there's any activity on your deed, they will notify you. I had a friend of mine just put his house in a trust and said he was just notified that there was some activity. And when we called the clerk of courts, I asked them, what happened. They said the house was placed in a trust. And I asked him, did you just do that? He said, yes. But it's a fail-safe mechanism to let you know if there's anything going on. The other thing with Seniors versus Crime, make sure you call one of the offices. We have 4 offices in the villages before you hire anybody, and we'll let you know if there's any complaints about the company you want to hire, or how long they've been in business, or whether they're good or bad. And then you do your due diligence, and you get taken. You've tried before you go Sergeant Dodge.
Any other questions?
Thank you for that.
1 or 2 closing comments, if that's all right. Golf carts. Can anyone tell me, can you get a DUI in a golf cart? Yes. Yes, you can. That's right. Right? Everyone knows what a designated driver is. It shouldn't be a Callaway unless it's a guy named Callaway. Right? Okay? Just something to think about. Okay? We think sometimes a percentage of our DUIs happen on golf carts, and it seems silly and it seems avoidable. DUIs are terrible, and they take lives. It's something we take very seriously, so I just want to share that with you. If the sheriff, go ahead.
Yeah, I was just going to say, to kind of add to that, one of the things that we get asked in the district all the time is, why aren't they giving out tickets on the golf cart pass? And I'm talking not the ones on the road, but the actual golf cart pass. The golf cart pass are private property, actually owned by the developer in the district. So they can't give out tickets on that. However, for DUI, if they suspect you've been drinking and you're driving that golf cart, Beth, you're treated the same as you would be on the road. You don't have the same penalties imposed on you. So be very, very careful with that. But the answer to, can they give speeding tickets on there? No, they cannot at this point, and that's a shame. I hope legislation in Tallahassee would get their heads straight and enact something where you're allowed to do that. And we could have separate patrols for golf carts. So,
The multimodal paths aren't a public roadway, so the enforcement is difficult there. But like I said, a DUI is certainly enforceable anywhere in the state.
Sumter County has a service that's free called Smart 911. I'm just wondering why you didn't mention that in your talk.
That's a great question. Smart 911 is a way to provide additional information that if, in the instance that you dial 911, our dispatch, our communication center will be provided with that additional information about you. That's a great point. I'm glad you brought it up. Smart 911 can be signed up for online, completely free, and it gives you the opportunity to provide information for our communication center ahead of time, and that way in the instance of an emergency, they can see that. Sometimes we get asked, hey, I came down from New York, if I dial 911, am I going to get the 911 center in the state where I came from? No. When you dial 911, you're going to get the closest cell tower. Now that cell tower may be in Lake County, and if you're connected to Lake County's 911, they're going to ask where you are. If you dial in on a non-emergency number or 911, we can see a GPS location now, which is really beneficial. But if you get Lake County's dispatch center, as soon as they determine you're in Sumter County, they connect you over. It takes about 3 or 4 seconds. It's almost seamless. You may not even recognize that it's happened. But you're going to get placed through the Sheriff's Office Dispatch Center. We dispatch for all law enforcement in the county. And if it's not a law enforcement issue, then it goes over to the county dispatch, which handles fire and EMS. It's a great question.
Sergeant, where do you sign up for it? Through the Sheriff's Office or on the county website?
I encourage you to check the county website. It's not a Sheriff's Office program. Okay.
any more questions in the audience? Yes, sir.
I recently had a friend who got scammed through her computer and lost a significant amount of money. She was fearful to notify anybody because she didn't want her children to know. Do you find that happens a lot? And I think it's great that you're coming here, that you have this program and your programs and you share it and communicate it, and we got to share it more because it took some convincing for her to call you, and y'all came right up.
We see victims of crime, all sorts of crime, embarrassed to be the victim of a crime. They're embarrassed that they were taken advantage of, or they're embarrassed that they fell for something. They're embarrassed to talk to us or their friends. We find especially they're afraid of telling their children that they've been the victim of a crime. They're worried their children are going to take their checkbook from them, is what they're concerned about oftentimes. We tell people if you do not report the crime, there's nothing we can do nothing if you don't report it. If you report it to us, it gives us the opportunity to investigate the crime, or at least to make other people aware that situation is occurring. So if you have a friend who's parent convinced or scared that they don't want to report or make someone aware, tell them that they could help keep someone else from becoming a victim of that same offense by coming forward. So, folks, if the sheriff were here tonight, he'd tell you thank you for the opportunity for us as a representative of the sheriff's office to come and speak. Thank you for being here and listening to what we've shared with you tonight. He'd tell you that it's a pleasure to serve this community because we are supported like nowhere else in the nation like we are here in this community. I tell people that I hear thank you for your service more than probably any law enforcement officer anywhere in the world because we have so much support from this community. So on behalf of Sheriff Pat Breeden, thank you very much, folks, and have a great evening.
Thank you, guys. Before we close, we should have done this in the beginning. We have a couple people that are in this room that are part of the POA and serve on other boards, and I think you need to know. I think you need to know who they are. In the back, Rep Benson, who's going to become our president, serves on the AAC. Gary Cato is the District 5 chairman of the Board of Supervisors. Dan Warren serves on the NSCOT board, and I am the chairman of the District 4 Board of Supervisors. So besides this organization, we're involved in your community, trying to make this place a better place to live. Thank you guys for coming, and we'll see you all at our expo and our 50th anniversary celebration. Thank you guys.